Hello everyone. So today is November 29th and today we are discussing the skeletal system. So here's my little note card. Keep us on track hopefully. And let's get started. So the skeletal system is there to provide structure, support, and movement for the body. Without the skeletal system, your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, none of that would have any attachment point. It wouldn't have any stiff structure to help move the body. You would just be a big pile of muscle. So without that skeletal system, we really wouldn't be what we are. It also provides protection. So it provides protection to your vital organs like your brain and your lungs and your heart and your kidneys and your liver, your spleen, all of that, as well as your reproductive organs. It also is a supplier for your red blood cells. So it's kind of a production factory for that. So it also helps with your blood cells, your blood volume, and your immunity in a way. Which is why sometimes bone marrow transplants are used for patients that are really, really sick. So, in the skeletal system, you have kind of two main components. You have your axial system, which is going to be all of the bones included in your head, your neck, and your back, as well as your ribs and your sternum. You also have your appendicular skeletal system, which is going to be all of the bones of your arms, your legs, things like that. So there's several different shapes of bones. So we'll start with sutural. Sutural bones are within the skull. I don't know if you can see all the lines on my little man here. Sutural bones are typically very small and flat, and included within those sutural lines. You also have pneumatized bones, I'm sorry, which are typically filled with lots of little air pockets or hollow, and most of those are found in the facial bones. You also have short bones, which are more box-like, or I kind of like to think of them as like a handful of pebbles. So they're all a little bit oddly shaped, but they're mostly short, round, or square in shape. You also have irregular bones. Those are typically just the vertebral bones in your back. So these guys right here running all the way down. You also have, flat bones. Flat bones are going to be the main big bones in your skull. You have long bones, and those are going to be the main bones of your arms, your legs, even some of the bones in your hands and feet. You also have the sesamoid bones. Those are pretty few, although the most common one is the patella or your kneecap. So let's start with the axial system. So within the axial system, you have all of your facial bones as well as your cranial bones. In your cranial bones, you're going to have your frontal bone, your right and left parietal bone, right and left temporal bone, occipital bone, as well as the sesamoid bone, which is kind of right in here. It's a little bit harder to see on a small mannequin here. You also are going to have your vertebral bones. So you're going to have your C1 through C7, your T1 through T12, and your L1 through L5, your sacrum and your coccyx, which is that little tiny bone right down at the bottom. You're also going to have bones of your sternum, so your manubrium, your sternal body, and your xiphoid process. Those are actually important in the placement of your hands during CPR. So you want to make sure you're above that xiphoid process to avoid breaking it off. You also have for your appendicular uh, skeletal system, sorry guys, you have your humerus, which is the big bone in your arm, your ulna, which is the bone that is attached closer to your pinky, your radius, which is the smaller bone in the forearm attached closer to your thumb, you have your clavicle, your scapula, and you also have the hip bones. So you have your ilium, your ischium, and your pubis bone. And of course, all of these bones have a left and a right component to them. So you have a left humerus and a right humerus, and a left scapula and a right scapula. All right, so moving on to the legs, you have your femur, which is the big bone in your leg, your patella or your kneecap. You have your tibia, which is the bigger bone in your lower leg, your fibula on the outside there. And then in your hands and feet, so your hands, you're going to have your carpal bones, and then your phalanges, and in your feet, you're going to have your tarsal bones. Remember, that's all those short bones, and then your phalanges there as well. So also important to know in that skeletal system is all of the different kinds of joints. So you're going to have immovable joints, which is going to be where those sutures come into play. So those skull bones, once you reach a certain age, are going to stop growing, and they're going to fuse together, and they're not going to move anymore. You have slightly movable joints, which is going to be right down here where your tibia and your fibula join together. That is a joint, but it is considered only slightly movable because they just kind of rub together. And then you have freely moving joints or synovial joints, and those have several different kinds. So you have planar joints, which is going to be kind of right where your clavicle joins into your manubrium there. You're also going to have pivot. You're going to have a single pivot joint, which is going to be right at the very top. That C1, that cervical vertebrae 1, that atlas is going to allow your head to pivot. You're also going to have saddler joints, which is going to be in your fingers and bones where your phalanges meet your carpal and tarsal bones. You're going to have condylar joints, which is going to be where your carpal and tarsal bones meet the long bones of the forearm or the leg. Hinge joints are a really common one. Those are going to be your elbow and your knee. So it acts just like a hinge. It can bend one way, but not the other. If it bends the other way, you got a problem. And then you have ball and socket joints, which are also the most common or commonly known. So your shoulder joints and your hip joints. And it's a little hard to demonstrate on the mannequin, but with a ball and socket joint, you literally have a socket and a ball, and it just kind of rotates all within. Then, of course, you have ligaments and tendons and processes on each of the bones where those ligaments and tendons attach, and it all just kind of pulls together. Tendons, ligaments, and cartilage are main kind of side features of the skeletal system. So, accessory portions of the skeletal system. So, your cartilage which attaches your true ribs to your sternum. You also have quite a bit of cartilage in your facial structures, so your nose, your ears, and then you have cartilage coverings at the ends of your long bones. Something we didn't mention just real quick about the ribs, I do apologize. So you have 12 ribs in total. However, ribs 1 through 8 are considered your true ribs. 9, 10, 11, and 12 are not considered true ribs, and then 11 and 12 are considered your floating ribs because they are not attached to any cartilage. They're just kind of out here hanging out on the side. So I know that was a lot really quick. Hopefully we didn't get too lost, but that was a very brief overview of your skeletal system. Thank you very much.